abstaining from food. But it's not just food. It's you know, it's abstaining from anything, you know. And then with us, we got to know anything that is spiritually hindering us,
right,
from focusing on God's word, you know. And so that's what we have to understand. The eating part we learned from Daniel, because I don't know why, I don't know where they get that from, when they talk about the Daniel fast and all that. But it wasn't that. That was just how Daniel ate. He ate healthy. He ate healthy food. And you know, and that was, and that's when he, you know, when we read it, he tells them, hey, let us eat what we eat, and let them eat what the king eat, and then see the difference. You know, you see the, it was never called a fast. It was never called a fast, you know. And so that's the thing we have to understand on that. When they do mention the fast on the different scriptures, you have to really understand what they were doing. It wasn't necessarily, they were saying, hey, we're focusing on God.
That's the next question I was going to ask.
That's what they were saying when they said, when you think about it now, not Ruth and golly, what's her name? Not Hannah, but Esther. And the book of Esther, when Esther told them to fast, right?
Yep.
So now think about that story now.
3 days.
She told them to fast for 3 days, right?
Sure did.
She didn't say nothing about the food. She just said fast. In other words, she wanted everybody to pray and get on one accord on what they were, you know, what was, you know, hey, I want everybody to pray that it goes well for me when I go to approach my husband, right? Because that was the whole thing. She said, I can't go to him because it was death.
Right.
And so she said, so she told everybody, hey, y'all fast. Let's go on the fast. So she wanted everybody to get on one accord to pray that, hey, it goes well. Because, hey, you know, and so God had favor on, you know, on her to have. And even when we look at Jonah, and even in the book of Jonah, where they say, they talk about going on, the king said, go on the fast, right? He said, who knows, God might change his mind, right? It had nothing to do about what they were eating. It was them abstaining from what they were doing. One accord. And
that was what the importance of it, getting on one accord.
Getting on one accord. That's the importance of it. Everybody got on one accord and stopped doing what they was doing, right? So we know they were doing they were doing a lot of stuff. And so they had to fast they had to abstain from doing what they were doing to prove to God that, hey, we want to get this thing right.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And see, my next question was, what do we supposed to do when we're fasting?
We're supposed to spend that time spending it with God.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're replacing whatever it is.
You're replacing whatever it is to give him that time. Yeah. So if you're not doing that, then you ain't fasting.
You ain't fasting. That's right. You just going on a what? If you're
a diet.
You just going on a diet. If you're not spending that time with God, praying, reading his word, keeping spiritual things before your eyes, then you're just dying. Or just not doing what you like to do. You might as well just go do what you like to do. So then, I want to ask you all another question. We know that we are three-part man, three-part being, but I want to talk about the flesh and the spirit part of us. So this is always said, I've heard people say, and I know Elder Stevens have, because he go back when I was back there, and they always say the one that you feed the most, and I know Elder James, I heard me say this, the one that you feed the most is the one that rules, it's the strongest. So what exactly does that mean?
That means that if you feed into the flesh, then you're strengthening the flesh. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Just like Pastor said, you will fall subject to the flesh. But if you feed the spirit, then you fall subject to the spirit. Yeah. But there's one thing in here that got me on this. What about when you fasting and go out in the world? That's a question I got. When you fasting and you going out in the world.
You mean like just everyday stuff?
Yes.
That's hard.
Yes.
Well, first of all, ain't nobody supposed to know you fast.
That's true. Okay. Then, but you got some people out there that's observant.
Well, but they still ain't supposed to know. Jesus gave it. The only person that's supposed to know is your spouse. Mm-hmm. That's the instructions he gave us. Mm-hmm. The only person that's supposed to know is your spouse. You know? There ain't nobody, and that's another thing that we do wrong. When people are saying, hey, we're going on a fast. What you tell me that for?
Right.
Now between, you see what I'm saying? Because,
that's right.
Because again, to go back to what you were saying a while ago, so if we're not giving him that time, then we're just on the diet.
Right.
We're defeating the whole purpose of what we're, the whole purpose is for us to be spending time with him. I ain't got to tell you that I'm spending time with him. Because I'm gonna do it in secret anyway.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna come in here and when ain't nobody in here and all the lights is off and I'm just gonna lay down and I'm just gonna wobble and pray and pray. I'm spending time with him. Jesus gave us the example. Jesus never prayed with them. He always left them alone and prayed to his Father by himself.
Why you think that, Pastor?
Because there wouldn't be no distractions. Because y'all know you trying to pray and somebody gonna say something or and it just throw your whole prayer off. And so Jesus didn't want no distractions. He wanted to get away from everybody so that he can have that one-on-one. It's just like if you got something really important that you want to tell somebody and there's a crowd around. You're just not going to yell across the room and say, hey, Elder Stephen.
Right.
Because you don't want everybody to know, so you're going to go to them. You're going to make your way to them and say, hey, can we go somewhere in private? Because inside or something. So, and the Bible gives us those same instructions when it talks about if we got a problem with our sister or brother, that we should pull them to the side or go somewhere where everybody doesn't need to know what's going on.
That's right.